times of turbulent weather are making us all too aware of the powers of nature. Sometimes we feel its force through natural disasters, but every day the world's tested by nature's might. Whether it's explosive volcanoes in Iceland or snowfall in the Andes, landscapes can be transformed at astonishing speeds. Sometimes, even the Earth itself seems to fight back. Despite the challenges, animals have adapted to cope, and so can we. The Earth's not a static lump of rock. It's organic, always changing, reshaping, evolving. Sometimes the process is so slow and subtle that it's incomprehensible, but other times it's impossible to miss. Volcanoes are one of the most powerful and destructive forces known to humans. But the acts of destruction can also be acts of creation. The Earth's a ball of hot molten rock, very hot. At its core, it's believed to be around 6,000 degrees C. That's the same temperature as the surface of the sun. The energy from this unimaginable heat generates the Earth's magnetic field. Riding atop this inferno is the Earth's crust, which is not stable ground. It's sheets floating over molten rock, constantly moving and rubbing against each other. There are 17 major faults in the Earth's surface, the edges of tectonic plates that push and pull against each other. These volatile and weak spots can give the molten rock a chance to escape, and when it does, the results can be explosive. Many of these cracks in the Earth's surface are underwater. But emerging and cooling rock can build up and eventually emerge from the ocean as a new landmass. Iceland is one such volcanic island. Iceland sits on the mid-Atlantic ridge, the meeting point of the North American and European tectonic plates. As the plates grind against one another, they allow the lava to escape and build more of the island. There are hundreds of volcanoes in Iceland, and 30 volcanic systems remain active. But the spewing molten rocks, not the only clue about what lies beneath. Iceland's surface water can seep down into cracks in the rocks, bringing it closer to the inferno of molten rock beneath. It boils the water, and as the water turns to steam, pressure builds, and it explosively finds its way back to the surface. The geysers and lava clearly demonstrate the volcanoes of Iceland are still active. In 2010, eruptions made the news worldwide because of the disruption huge clouds of ash caused to air traffic. The volatile geology of Iceland isn't unique. Many islands were formed by volcanic eruptions, and many are still active, including some that are well populated by humans. Unlike Iceland, Hawaii isn't located on a tectonic plate boundary. Instead, it's over a so-called magma hotspot, a huge underground chamber of molten rock close to the surface. The Pacific Plate's slowly moving northwest over this hotspot. And as it does, volcanoes are acting like an island factory. A conveyor belt where islands are formed and moved north. New islands are always gradually being built to the south of the island chain. In the past, eruptions have had a devastating impact on the local people, killing thousands, and new eruptions are a permanent threat to island life. In the last 300 years, more than 260,000 people have been killed by volcanoes around the world. But for all their terrifying power, volcanic forces can also benefit life. Iceland's a rock on the edge of the Arctic Circle. It should be a very difficult place to live, but one of the advantages of volcanoes is that they throw up clouds of ash. The ash can be deadly when it's airborne, choking lungs and blocking out sunlight. But once it's settled, it can make fertile soil, allowing plants to colonize. Iceland has only one native mammal, the Arctic fox, which made its own way to the island by walking on sea ice during the Ice Age. But in more recent years, humans settled the islands and brought with them livestock. They bred Icelandic ponies to cope with the harsh conditions. Today, the hardy animals can roam free and find ample grazing on the volcanic soil. Nowhere is this more evident than on the Great Plains of East Africa. Ol Doinyo Lengai is a huge active volcano, but one of a special nature. Instead of destroying the landscape, it's enriching it. Most volcanoes spew clouds of silica-rich ash, but the ash and lava of Ol Doinyo Lengai is composed of sodium and potassium carbonates. Natural fertilizers that make the surrounding grassland so productive that they support millions of wildebeest and other big game. All landscapes have a food chain, but here the food chain's short. It's dominated by large plant eaters. The soil's nutrition goes into plants, that go into wildebeest, that go into lions. It's quick turnaround recycling, resulting in the plains of East Africa having some of the richest soils on Earth. 66% higher than predicted for an average grassland. The volcanic soil is known as vertisol and has been laid down by volcanoes over 150,000 years. Born around 370,000 years ago, Ol Doinyo Lengai, the mountains of the gods, stands proud, towering over 2,000 meters above the plains. Threats of eruption are constant, and the trails of smoke and lava-caused bushfires can be so massive that they can be seen from space. But its timeless presence supports life. The results are one of the greatest natural wonders of the world. There are some less subtle ways that wildlife enjoys volcanic activity. The famous geysers of Yellowstone keep bison warm during the region's harsh winters. This central heating comes at a cost. The hot springs warm the bison, but also coats the grass in silica. The grazing bison show excessive wear on their teeth from this hard-coated diet. This grinding down of their enamel can shorten their lives by as much as 4 years. The price to pay for living between fire and ice. There are more than 10,000 geothermal features in Yellowstone. Many of the hot springs have created unique habitats. The stunning colors surrounding the hot springs are evidence of life at the heart of the heat. Bacterial colonies, unique species of microbes found nowhere else on Earth. They've adapted to the hottest conditions. Their colors come from pigments that they use to absorb light for photosynthesis. The different species are fragile and totally dependent on exact temperatures for their future survival. There's plenty of evidence here of the force of nature. Half of the world's geothermal features are found in this one small area. Yellowstone has the potential to be one of the most dangerous areas of volcanic activity on Earth. It's a giant caldera, a place where a huge volcano has emptied its magma chamber and then collapsed into it. There's still plenty of magma beneath. Yellowstone's considered a supervolcano for its colossal proportions. It will erupt sometime in the future, and when it does, it will have the potential to devastate most of the continent of North America and change living conditions all over the world. But despite the dangers, volcanic regions have fertile soils, ideal for agriculture, and throughout history, humans have settled near them. Japan's an archipelago of nearly 7,000 islands, all of which were created by the actions of a stratovolcano, part of the famous Pacific Ring of Fire. At over 3,700 meters, Mount Fuji is its crowning glory. With its near-perfect symmetry, it's one of the nation's most iconic landmarks. It can be seen from Tokyo, which despite the potential threat lies just 100 kilometers away. Tourists flock to see this natural wonder. Scientists believe that although Mount Fuji is classified as active, it's unlikely to blow anytime soon. But there are other parts of the archipelago's geology that are much more aggressive. A stratovolcano is formed when a large magma chamber has a complex series of vents. Highly pressured gases and heat build in the molten rock and eventually leads to some of the biggest, most dangerous eruptions. Mount Sakurajima on the southern island of Kyushu is one of the most dangerous volcanoes on Earth and may erupt in the near future. But its constant activity has laid down layers of ash, rock and lava. It's the most powerful landscape gardener. The fertile soils attract people. The islands of Japan have been occupied for tens of thousands of years. And people living in areas with geothermal activity have learned to put it to good use. Thanks to geology, there's hot water on tap, and locals make the most of it. And they're not the only ones. Japan's long meandering islands broadly straddle the temperate zone, and in the north see harsh winters. The Japanese Alps on the island of Honshu get some of the biggest volumes of snow on Earth. A challenge for one of the nation's hardiest residents. Apart from humans, no other primate has managed to conquer such a cold climate. It's not surprising that Japanese macaques earned their nickname, snow monkeys. During the winter, they must be adaptable, eating anything they can find, and often having to make do with twigs and bark. Their thick, woolly coats help them weather temperatures below -15. They use their dexterous fingers to seek out buried treasure in the snow. But when fingers get cold and stiff from picking scraps up from the snow, there's nothing better than a soak in the hot tub. And that's exactly what the snow monkeys do. The baths permanently set to a comfortable 40 degrees. The primate spa gives the monkeys a chance to relax and catch up with friends. Hierarchy is everything. The higher an individual's social status, the better position it holds in the pool. though giving a good massage can help to win favors as well as keeping each other's skin in good health. Snow monkeys really live in a world between fire and ice. Cold's one of the biggest challenges to life on Earth. During winter months, daylight hours shorten, temperatures drop. Many areas are carpeted in snow, making it hard to find food. It's hard for animals that are exposed to the elements, but the plants, wrapped in their blankets of snow, are protected from damaging frosts. Snow can be magical in its beauty and has huge benefits to the planet, both locally, where it can provide a water source, and globally, as its white surface reflects the sun, altering the Earth's climate. Snow can be deadly to wildlife, and animals have all manner of strategies to cope with the forces of ice. Some animals make provision. Jays spend the autumn months gathering acorns and other treats and burying them. Hidden larders that they can raid when the going gets tough. Jays can stash 5,000 acorns in food stores spread out over the forest, and amazingly can remember where they've put them, all using incredible spatial awareness. They can even locate and collect food that's been covered in snow. The yellow-throated marten lives in some of the coldest forests across Asia. Most animals either hibernate or migrate to avoid these conditions, but not the marten. Like a kid full of sugar, he has boundless energy and is active year-round. Hair between his toes act like snowshoes and keep his feet warm. His high energy levels mean he can hike for 20 kilometers a day to find food, and he's very adaptable, eating most small animals, but also pine cones and other plant foods if the going gets tough. He looks cute and cuddly, but his real attribute is confidence and aggression. Though he's only the size of a domestic cat, he'll readily kill small deer like the tusked musk deer, sometimes even hunting in packs with his mates, providing lots of meat to fuel his hectic lifestyle. Many animals have spent the autumn gorging themselves, building up layers of fat. For bears, it means they can opt out of winter altogether. They and a multitude of other animals, having built up fatty bodies, seek caves and crevices where they can curl up and go to sleep. Everything from bears to dormice. They enter a state of torpor where their metabolism slows right down, functioning just enough to keep the body's organs going until better conditions arrive to wake them up. But other animals must weather the storm. Many plants die back in winter or are buried in snow. Small wild goats known as chamois must use their hooves like shovels to dig their way down to dinner. Many plant eaters are forced to make do with twigs or strip bark from the trees. For sika deer in northern Japan, just wading through the deep snow is exhausting. Months of endurance will test them all. But cold's not the only threat. Strong winds can pick up the fallen snow, kick-starting a blizzard, which can be deadly to animals and people alike. The blinding flurries strip warmth from animals' bodies and makes it even harder for them to find food. Competition's fierce, and predators and scavengers eye each other with suspicion. All are willing to try and steal food from one another. In winter, it's survival of the fittest. You must be tough to weather the storm. Not all will make it. But those who don't become precious resources to others, a lifeline, offering food that might get them through. In the mountains of Spain, a wild boar has succumbed to the cold. His body doesn't go unnoticed for long. Sharp-eyed and intelligent, ravens are quickly on the scene. But there's a challenge. The boar didn't make it through the storm, but he remains tough even in death. The birds want to eat quickly, knowing there are others looking for an easy meal. But even the large hooked beaks of ravens, kites and buzzards struggle to excavate flesh from beneath its thick skin. There are bigger beaks that fit the bill. Vultures can spot carcasses from several kilometers away, but their arrival's a mixed blessing. Their meat cleaver beaks quickly open the carcass. But there are soon too many mouths to feed, and tempers fray. They must fight for their share. Getting the meal could make the difference between surviving winter or joining the casualties. These are serious times, but ravens still seem to maintain their humor. They need to clean their feathers after the feast, and do so by rolling in the snow. Something that quickly seems to become a game. So snow can have its uses, but of course it can also bring new threats. As snow's laid down, it isn't always layered equally. Any imbalance can cause movement, and it doesn't take much to trigger the biggest natural hazard in mountain country: an avalanche. A small amount of falling snow has a snowballing effect, pulling more in and gaining momentum. It can smother anything in its path and can be a serious threat to human as well as animal life. The wall of snow can exceed speeds of 120 kilometers an hour. The cold tests the endurance of life, but nowhere more so than the poles, where only the most polar-adapted creatures can make a living. This is life on the edge, a bleak existence where animals are tested by the most unpredictable extremes of weather. This is a land ruled by ice. The Arctic lies above the tree line, literally the most northerly point that trees can grow. Even in the height of summer, its average temperature stays below 10 degrees. In winter, it drops to -40 or lower. The Arctic barely gets any precipitation, but what it does get falls as snow, not rain. This is the so-called cryosphere, the parts of the world where water's solid snow and ice. Most animals and plants exploit the Arctic summer because of its almost continuous sunlight, when productivity can be high. But when winter closes in, most life vanishes. Millions of animals, like these little orcs, head south for a less extreme winter. It's one of the biggest shifts of life on the planet. Only the toughest remain. Arctic foxes are one of the few mammals in residence year-round. Their summer grey coats turn snowy white to help them camouflage against the snow. Many marine mammals have thick layers of blubber to protect them from the cold, but even they leave. If the seas freeze, they'll be trapped under it and unable to breathe. The belugas that spent the summer months feeding in the high Arctic seas leave, getting out before the sea freezes over. But others arrive to make the most of the new land of ice. Gradually, the movement of the rolling ocean waves are solidified, frozen solid, forming a crust of ice several meters deep. Several species of seals are dependent on the sea ice, the vast area of the ocean around the North Pole that freezes over every winter. They come here to give birth. The sea ice offers a landscape that's beyond the reach of most predators. They use their sharp teeth to cut breathing holes in the ice, then dig dens where they can hide their pups. They use the breathing holes to dive beneath the ice to hunt. Here there's an abundance of fish and crustacean life, and not too much competition. Though there are some fish they might try to avoid, nightmarish monsters of the deep. The Greenland sharks are giant, more than 6 meters long, slowly hunting at depth. It has a low metabolism and moves slowly, conserving energy in frigid seas. Spending its life on ice or under it seems to have given this fish incredible longevity. Some specimens are believed to be hundreds of years old. It appears to live its life in slow motion, and no one's really sure how quickly it can hunt. It may have a bizarre relationship with a parasite, a strange glowing copepod that burrows into its eyes. They damage the shark's eyesight, but might also lure animals with their glowing skin, bringing them closer to the shark's mouth. The sharks are known to consume most large Arctic creatures, but whether it hunts them or just consumes carcasses it finds is still unknown. But seals certainly find their way into its stomach. If it gets too hairy underwater, the seal can haul out and rest on the ice with its pup. Existence here is tough, but life's getting even harder for the Arctic's inhabitants. The planet's climate is changing, getting warmer, and nowhere more so than the Arctic. It's making life very difficult for the most famous ice specialist, the polar bear. They mostly eat seals, but can only catch them when they come onto the ice to breed. Now there's less ice in many areas. The bears are excellent swimmers, but it's costly. With sea ice forming later and melting earlier, they're having to spend more and more time swimming in search of hunting grounds, sometimes swimming hundreds of kilometers at a time. Swimming further means they burn more calories, eating into the precious fat reserves that they need to stay warm. The results can be fatal. It's not the only part of the cryosphere impacted. Much of the Arctic and cold, high-altitude places all over the world are covered in permafrost, areas where the soil's frozen year-round. Home to Arctic specialists like muskox, shaggy members of the sheep family that haven't changed in appearance since the Ice Age, the frozen tundra is the only place where they can live. But it's thawing, and as it does, it's releasing large quantities of carbon dioxide and methane, further driving the greenhouse effect that's causing climate change. It's been calculated that there's more carbon trapped in the permafrost than currently exists in all living things. There are other, more visible ice stores that define the look of our planet. Majestic glaciers are formed by thousands of years of falling and accumulating snow. Although it's too slow to watch, they're constantly moving, slowly flowing downhill under their own weight. Glaciers currently cover about 10% of the planet, though their surface area is shrinking rapidly. These vast bodies of ice have shaped the world as we know it. Their sheer mass and constant, steady movement has carved valleys and diverted watercourses, a monumental force of nature that's now under threat. Glaciers hold about 75% of the world's fresh water. An icy frontier that's constantly changing. Cracks form and lead to carving, the birth of icebergs. With the Earth's average climate rising, bigger and more frequent icebergs are being produced. Icebergs release nutrients into the ocean, attracting animal life, and carry tons of fresh water that, as it melts, can affect currents and ocean circulation as they change the chemistry of the sea around them. Melting icebergs don't affect sea levels, but the melting glaciers do, releasing thousands of tons of fresh water. This could represent a real threat to human lives and certainly settlements. More than 100 million people live within a meter of sea level. A small rise could have dramatic consequences. The frozen water in Greenland alone could raise global sea levels by 7 meters if it were to melt. 90% of coastal areas will be affected, including most of the world's largest cities. Millions of people will be displaced because of ice melting in far-off lands. Fire and ice are two forces often found side by side. Many volcanic areas are in regions of high latitude or altitude and are dominated by ice. Changes in one can affect the other. Some studies suggest that as glaciers melt, they're taking weight off the Earth's surface, which can unleash geothermal and volcanic activity, in turn releasing more greenhouse gases, making the whole situation worse. It means both animals and people making a living in these areas could be sitting on a time bomb. Brown bears like to forage around the hot springs of Kamchatka, the thermals giving them a break from the cold winter, and exposing fresh grazing. But with climate change, it's a dangerous path to tread. Ice melt and volcanic activity are two forces that can combine and destabilize the ground, leading to life-threatening landslides. The forces of nature can devastate, and it can take a while for the living to recover in the aftermath. A confused bear tries to fumble its way through the rubble. Shaken, but lucky to be alive, it picks a path through the mud. The world has never been constant. Throughout its formation, it's gone through periods of cooling and warming, dictating the driving forces of evolution for all living things. Sometimes the changes are very gradual, at other times fast and traumatic. The planet's currently going through a natural period of warming, but most scientists around the globe are convinced that the rate of warming's being dramatically increased by human activity. Especially the burning of fossil fuels, releasing gases into the atmosphere that can make it act like a greenhouse, trapping more of the sun's heat. And as this process continues, we're documenting more severe storms and melting ice, and seeing animals tested by the changing environment around them. It may be that the forces of nature can help us. Volcanoes, the life-threatening superpowers, might also provide a solution to reduce our impact on the environment. Instead of damaging fossil fuels, humans are making huge leaps in harnessing geothermal energy. Hot rocks heat water that can be harnessed to turn turbines generating power. This is already happening in Italy, California, and especially Iceland, where 92% of homes are run using geothermal heat. It saves the country $100 million in importing fossil fuel and makes Iceland's cities some of the cleanest in the world. The natural forces of fire and ice have always shaped the planet, causing incredible devastation with their awesome power, and yet creating new opportunities for life. And they continue to do so. If we respect and embrace the forces of nature, they might help us to save us from ourselves and limit our impact on this incredible planet.